Hello, hello. Um, I'm attorney Dahlia Castillo. If for those of you who are joining me for the first time today, so normally I do Facebook Lives on immigration topics at 12:30 in English, but today I had a little bit of technical difficulties, and I try to do these in between appointments and work. And so we have a late start today. All right, so I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to talk about U visas. I'm going to talk about the process, how long it takes, and who qualifies. Um, if you are joining me for the first time, please like this video and share it with your friends or your family. I also invite you to subscribe to my YouTube page, so that way you can get the latest updates on immigration whenever I air these videos. Okay, you want to click the subscribe button. Alrighty, so a lot of times when I do consultations, I meet with people and they want to know what their immigration option is. Most of the time, they may have a family member who they want to petition for them. And especially if they have a child, a U.S. citizen child that's 21 or older, they'll come and they'll want me to see about submitting documentation for them. A lot of times, though, even though they may have the proper petitioner, like a U.S. citizen child, um, there may be other things that's going on in their immigration status that may prevent them from getting a green card through that route. So sometimes, a lot of us lawyers, what we would do when people come in to see us, we will screen them to see if they are what we call inadmissible. And so some of the questions we'll ask are, did you come with a visa? Um, when was the last time you entered the U.S.? Um, did you overstay and then leave and then come back without a visa? Have you ever been stopped by immigration or given a letter to immigration court, like things like that? And if through the screening process we're not able to um, submit an application using your child, your citizen child, we will then look for other ways to see if we can get you something that will put you on that pathway to get a green card. And so one of the things we screen for a lot are the U visas and the T visas. Today I'm going to talk about the U visas. This is the crime victim visa, okay? And so what are the types of, let me pull this up here. I want to show you what are the types of crimes that would make a person eligible for the U visa. So a lot of times, what I find since I've been practicing immigration law is that a lot of undocumented people are targeted. They're usually victims of crimes because they're the perfect victim, because a lot of times they don't report because they're afraid that they may be reported to immigration because they have no status, so they'll keep quiet. So, they may be a victim of a robbery. Someone, would may use a weapon to rob them or assaulted them. They may be involved in domestic violence. Um, have a partner who, assaulted them or harassed them, or even their child, even if the child is a U.S. citizen or a green card holder themselves, but you, the victim, do not have status, but you're being abused or your child is being abused. You are um, you are sexually assaulted, or your child was sexually assaulted or abused by someone in a caretaker position. You were forced into prostitution. Someone committed fraud, or maybe you were a witness to a crime and someone is threatening you, that if you testify, they will harm you or your family, or they'll report you to immigration, But these are just some of the crimes, and of course, you would need to meet with a lawyer to go over your circumstances to see if you are indeed eligible. But one of the requirements is, if you are a victim of a crime, you must report it. Okay, that is a requirement, and the crime must happen here in the U.S. So, how does one apply for the U visa? Um, there are two steps in the process. The first step is you would have to get a U visa certificate signed by law enforcement, like the police or district attorney, in the case. You must get a copy of the police report showing that you did in fact report the crime. Now, if the police comes and questions you, things like that, you must show that you cooperated with the police. It doesn't require that the person who assaulted you get convicted. It's not a requirement. As long as you show you participated and you assisted the police, then that's sufficient for the reporting part of it and the cooperation part of it. So once we send the request to the police or the district attorney, asking them to sign the U certificate, it's really important to understand that once they sign it, which is a requirement, because if they don't sign it, we have no case. We can't apply for the U visa. You have to act quickly because you only have about 6 months to use that U certificate. You have to submit your application with it. If it expires before you are able to submit the U application, then you can try to get another signature, but from my experience, a lot of times, like the law enforcement, they usually don't want to do it. Sometimes they're reluctant to do it in the beginning, but once they do it, it's really important that you move quickly. So, what happens after the police or law enforcement signs the certificate? You have 6 months, like I said, to prepare the U application before it expires and submit the application to USCIS. Now, what I get asked a lot is how long is the process? So right now the processing time for this type of visa is 5 years. Okay, and I know a lot of people, they get anxious because 5 years is a long time, especially when you don't have status. And, you know, I tell people with the 5 years, because I get asked all the time, oh, lawyer, can I get a work permit now that I have this application pending? And the answer is no. You don't get any work permits. You do not get a driver's license. You do not get a social security number. All you get is waiting time, is just to sit and wait for 5 years until there is a visa available for you. Um, you know, like a lot of us lawyers will get, especially when we do these types of visas, people will call and say, oh, my neighbor or my friend, they got approved and their application was sent, either, after my application. I don't understand why it's taking so long. Is there something wrong? And the truth is, yeah, I'm sure, obviously if your friend or your neighbor, your cousin's application was approved, but it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with your case. It just means that by the time maybe they got to yours, they ran out of visas to give out, because they're only allotted 10,000 visas a year. And once they distribute them all, then that's it. That's when they will stop until they get more visas to distribute. So, you know, sure, your cousin or your friend's application can be approved before yours, but the takeaway from this is you just have to find the patience to wait until your application is approved when they have the visa available for you. So what happens after we prepare the application and we submit it off to immigration? All right, so what happens is you will receive a receipt notice, which is your proof that you have a pending application. Usually 3 weeks or so after you get that receipt notice, you would receive a notice for biometrics or fingerprints, and you will go to your closest immigration field office to do your fingerprints. And then you wait for the 5 years. And again, you do not get any social security, no driver's license, or any work permit. Now, if you are stopped, while driving without a license or something like that, excuse me, you may show your receipt notice, but it doesn't mean that the police may not arrest you if you've committed a crime like reckless driving or something like that. It doesn't mean that they won't turn you over to ICE, but it's something to show. They may use their discretion and let you go, but there's no guarantee, because the receipt notice doesn't give you any benefits. When the visa is approved, then you now have status. You now can apply for the Social Security card. You can apply for the driver's license, and then you can apply for the work permit. And then, once you're in that status for about 4 years, then you can apply for a green card. But until then, you wait. Now, again, if you want to know more about the U visa, if you were a victim of a crime, like I said, only certain crimes, but you need to go see a lawyer so that he or she can evaluate your situation to see if you will be eligible for the U visa. Again, it's a two-part process. The first part is really, 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 really important to get, because if you don't get that certificate signed by law enforcement, you don't have the case. Again, if this video was helpful, please share it with your friends and family. Like it. Um, Subscribe to my YouTube page, and I will see you next week with a new theme. You have a good day. Take care.